Howdy, Beefalo Bart here, and would like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, especially if you are from Massive Entertainment, Red Storm Entertainment, Ubisoft, anybody who has controlling interest on making decisions for the Division. And the reason why I'm making this video is to bring a few things to light that are A, personal opinion and suggestions, but also to hopefully let you take into consideration the fact that I am also looking for employment, and what I have to offer can relate to, I would assume, best described as creative content control or a creative content director. And I do have some experience in this in the video game industry and can explain that at any time, but I'm going to start off with a few pointers for suggestions that need to be incorporated. And yes, I realize that this is on PTS 1.8 and kind of goes hand in hand with the current release patch coming out and so forth. Okay. One of the things that a lot of us have been looking forward to is being able to get over here to the aircraft carrier. And there's a large majority of us, or a good portion of us, that are actually into the global exploration, taking the time to explore and finding out new locations and how to get to new areas and discovering secret hidden locations and things of that nature. I mean, I've found numerous different ones, not just in this area here. You know, for an example being, you've got at least 3 hidden areas that I've come across in Hudson Refugee Camp. One that puts you on the rooftop, one that just kind of carries you through by the subway cars, and just the payout is not there for actually going through the time to explore them, because with a level 30 character with max gear stats, the gear that comes out of the crates that you do actually find is really worthless for your character. So that's kind of an issue that needs to be addressed as well, and should be addressed before 1.8 comes out. And expanding upon the exploration aspect of it, as soon as a lot of us have found out that we're going to have the Westside Piers and the USS Intrepid, being able to get on the aircraft carrier, that made a lot of people happy. And currently right now there is no way to get on the aircraft carrier. All we can do is look at it, walk underneath the bow of it, and just, well, hate life in general, because we finally get the chance to come over here. We're able to get out by the piers and we can't get on the aircraft carrier. I understand that here soon one of the new features is going to be available for the horde mode style attack and so forth, and that it's going to take place over here in and on the carrier. That's fine. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. I'm going to play the crap out of it. However, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be much like when you go to a safe house, you want to do the new skirmish mode, you go to last stand menu and pull up skirmish and enter the matchmaking there. Would assume that you're going to do the same thing, but for this new horde mode it would actually be survival going into that. And again, you know, as I've mentioned in a couple of my other videos, one of the best things you can do right now for last stand and for survival is make it free. There's currently not enough people to keep either one active, and if you make them free to everybody, then you'll get more players doing that mode as well as the new 4 versus 4 skirmish mode. And if you mix the if you make survival free, you might also consider reducing the number of players allowed in to maybe 4, and that way you can get more people into it if you're going to have a queue. If I decide I want to go PvE, then I shouldn't have to wait in queue for other players to be able to get a match going. So if that's going to be your method for making the horde mode available, that's fine. Because as you know, and as I know, and a lot of people can figure out, what's going to happen is it's going to teleport you to a whole new different map, a different area, it's going to be this over here, but to have the new inside areas of the carrier, outside areas of the carrier, it's going to be separated from this, and hopefully so, because just like what's plaguing a lot of the current maps, when you're trying to play a mission, there's a couple missions where you're stuck in combat because of things that are outside the map, and you can't heal back fully, so you go into the next section of the spawns with less health than you should, or you're getting sniped from, you know, another area outside the mission. While you're trying to worry about the targets in front of you, you got stuff that is not even in the mission area that's shooting at you. I found a couple places here in Westside Piers that are along the side areas, the street ends. The NPCs that are in the other areas can actually shoot through the fence and damage me or the players, but the players cannot shoot through the fence and take them out. I found the only way to deal with them is actually just to throw a seeker mine out. Moving on from that, and the exploration aspect, and I would say, to make a number of people happy and make it so that exploration can continue, I would say for sure, which, you know, the aircraft carrier. Since so many people would love to be able to get up on the aircraft carrier, make it to where exploration in the game is worthwhile. So if you are able to go through and explore and find some deep hidden secret location, maybe put in, like if it's going to be in the West Side Pier, make it to where you can gather a West Side Pier cache where you can get some division tech and maybe a weapon, preferably one that's compatible with your gear score, unlike the current drops right now from those which are too low. I understand it's a test server, things need to be tweaked and fixed, but I come over here to the carrier and okay, this door is sealed up tight, all the windows are sealed up, this door is sealed up, and the stairwell's sealed. And I'm going to make more comments about the coffee place here soon. But there's an upstairs. It's actually, everything is there, but there's no way to get to it. Just the same if you go outside. And I walked every inch of this fence line trying to find a way to get into the aircraft carrier, just see if there was something that one of the developers might have missed or whatever. There's no way to get over this fence. I mean, there's no way around anywhere to get into it. Legitimately. I'm not going to try hacking or exploiting or anything of that nature that would violate anything. But my idea is to make some off-the-wall, difficult to find way for players to find a way to get into this area so we can go explore the aircraft carrier with little or no spawns whatsoever, so we can just explore. Maybe, you know, put one or two spawns of LMB or Rikers or something in there just so it's, you know, you have to be on your toes a little bit, but the whole point is make it a maze, make exploration fun to where, you know, you actually have to spend maybe 30 minutes to an hour trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B to be able to get into the top of the carrier, then into the different lower decks of the carrier, things like that. Give us some exploration aspects of that. Same thing goes with other things here on the map. The top of the car wash, right over there where, and I don't know about anybody else, but I really, really hate these things. It's cool that you actually got one working in the game. Okay, I give you props for that. But let us get on top of the car wash. Let's get on top of other buildings. I'm not saying I want to get on top of that skyscraper over there, but yeah, why not? You know, but at least the lower lying buildings, let us get on top of them. Let us get on this this loop right over here. You know, where these trucks are. I'm not sure exactly what it does and where it goes. It goes to the warehousing over there or something. But let us get over there. I mean, why not? Okay, I'm going to move on to another point, because I think it's pretty clear that we need an exploration aspect to the game. Will add a little bit more fun to the casual gaming audience. Now, I'm going to cover a few things that I think that could help the game in a lot of ways. And one of the things that can make or break a video game is money, and you know, development budgets and costs and so forth. Advertising, which there's little or no advertising whatsoever for The Division. Yes, the game's been out for 18 months. Okay, but think about games like World of Tanks, World of Warships, even their failed World of Warplanes. But you think about the wargaming mentality. They started off with one game, and now there's 3. They started off with a small player base, and they're in the multi-million player base range, the 9, 10, 12 million players. And look how long it's been out. 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Think about World of Warcraft. Both of these 2 games have been heavily publicized. And yes, it takes money to advertise. But on the same note, one of my suggestions here is a way that you can actually gain money from advertising. Instead of just advertising for the game, let other advertisers come into the game. And one of the examples I'm going to use that is right here, since I'm standing right here. Kerman Coffee. Okay, it's a fictional company, and alright, awesome. Well, this goes into also, let me touch on one other thing really quickly before I get back into the advertising point. The next major expansion, before a patch 2.0 comes out, or you know, maybe for a patch 1.9, we need a major expansion, a major terrain expansion. Westside Piers is a good start, and I can't wait to see the Horde mode. I like the fact that we have a dynamic spawn system, so it keeps you on your toes when you're on that zone. But here's what I'm thinking. From the normal base of operations, players get to level 30, they max out their gear score. What's left to do besides do some PvP or go play the Dark Zone, or you know, any of the PvP modes or what have you? Why not continue the story? A lot of people who have been around in this game for quite some time, you know, especially like if you've been around since day one with this game, 18 months is a long time for the same storyline to be stuck in the same day period. You know, the player progression, you come through here, and the whole point of the story of the game is after during Black Friday, Green Poison was released. Okay, it's been 18 months. How long is it going to be Christmas time? Okay, so you don't have to redo everything and take down all the Christmas decorations, which would be relatively easy, but instead, continue the storyline from this point. For people who want to pay extra and buy the next expansion pack, the major expansion pack. We're not talking about a game mode like Underground or Last Stand or Survival. We're talking about a major expansion. Players would then continue their game past level 30, come down here, 7G all trains, walk through this gate, it would be opened up, and then you'd be able to walk through that door on the other side of this gate. As soon as you hit F to activate that door, it would then teleport you to maybe a subway station or a train station that's over here on the south side. And it would be the south side expansion pack, call it whatever you like, but it would open up all this terrain right here. And maybe as a thought to continue on the storyline would be the fact that now the Division, instead of being full combat activated troops, this area right here would not be near as looted and destroyed like the current city is. The streets would be cleaner. Stores will be starting to open back up. There's still gangs roaming the streets. LMB are still pushing, trying to take territory and maintain this area, or what have you. Still have, you know, the free roaming dynamic spawns like in the West Side Pier area. Let there be some dynamic spawning going on in this area right here, and along trying to regain control of this area from the LMB and the rival gangs, you're also trying to administer the antidote to civilians around the city. And you would have an injector that you carried with you, and much like in survival mode where you're giving yourself the shot to eliminate or slow the disease down so you don't die from the disease. Same thing, you're going around and finding civilians who are sick and you're giving them that, and you pick up division tech for inoculating a civilian or what have you. You know, make it to where that's part of your story, and have new missions. You know, like we have Lexington Event Center. You know, we got Madison Field Hospital. What if there's another hospital over here, and one of the missions is you have to come over here to this hospital and obtain more of the vaccine for the green poison, or you got to come over here to do this mission over here in this apartment complex where there's a storage of chemicals that were hijacked that were used to make the antivirus, or what have you. You know, there's enough ideas to fill this area with missions, and the area of this section of map from here down would be totally separated. This is already walled off, and the only way you can gain access to it would be if you actually paid for the expansion pack, and boom, you're in here. Now, expanding on the idea that this is now an open area, players can walk around, well, it needs to be cleaner, and it needs to be as if people are trying to regain their livelihood again. And just the same as Kerman Coffee. Why couldn't Kerman Coffee be replaced with a sponsor for the game? Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts. The ad revenue from them actually putting money into the game to sponsor having their restaurants or their coffee shops in the game would be nice. It's a good way to fund work on the new expansion. Kobe's. How many Kobe's restaurants are spread all over the city? It is the only main restaurant and the only one you can actually have an interior like this. Well, what if you were using this same interior over in the new area in the south side, and instead of it actually just being cluttered like this, it would actually be clean and would be staffed by maybe 1 or 2 people behind the counter, and you introduce a new feature of, just like in survival, but then expanding upon it, you have hunger and you have thirst, which is popular in survival games that have been going on for years. Now players would have to utilize some of their millions of currency or credits that they have very little use for. They would actually be able to come to the counter, purchase a burger and fries and a drink, and then be able to eat them to replenish their food and, you know, their health and their food and thirst. And just the same, instead of having these booths, I would say have tables, and like where the icon is for the player to take cover, instead, whenever I go to this position here, it would actually seat me at the chair at the table. And just like in the Dark Zone, this new section, the south side, will be open in independent zones, just like the Dark Zone is. DZ1, DZ2, DZ3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, the rest of the city is broken up in zones as well. But whenever I'm trying to play this area right here, I'm all by myself unless I join a mission. I go into the base of operations, I go into a safe house, or I go into the Dark Zone. Why not allow the same kind of population limits into each of the different zones of the city for the south side to be that way? So it would be a cooperative as well as open world. No player versus player. It would just be an open world cooperative area and allow for more social interactions. having more social interactions in the game will bring the player community together, but then again, give them something to do. Now, I know that player-to-player transactions, being able to transfer currency, is a bad thing. Absolutely bad. And that itself is going to... Go away, dog. I'm recording. That's going to lead to the usual scams and scammers and people trying to sell currency online, and yeah, accounts getting stolen. Yeah, player-to-player currency transactions is not a good idea. You know, maybe weapons transactions or something. Maybe some form of transaction between players, but primarily would be social gathering locations for people to, when you're in Kobe's, then a voice chat would be available. Much like in the Dark Zone, whenever you're close by other people and you're talking, they can hear you. So as soon as you come into Kobe's, you could actually carry on a conversation with other people around you and use voice to communicate, hey, does anybody want to go do this mission, or who wants to do this incursion, things like that. Instead of text chat, they would have voice chat inside the restaurants. And along with the advertising, what if instead of this being a Kobe's, when you walked in it was Burger King, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, KFC, Church's Chicken, Bojangles, any of the major chains of restaurants, Carl Jr.'s, Hardee's, In-N-Out Burger, you know, what have you. Now, on that same note, you look right here, this billboard. This is for a fictional movie. What if that was actually changed weekly for a movie that's in the theaters? Same thing with the sign right there, the Kerman Coffee ad. What if it was a Starbucks ad? Alright, now move along. Billboards. Okay, now this is just a subway route map. That's cool, but like right over here, those are billboards. Why not sell ad space on those billboards? I mean, seriously, that alone would generate revenue and bring money into the game for development. And if you've got a constant source of revenue besides the fact that microtransactions are kind of slow in a game like this, what is it that players are going to buy with their microtransactions? I mean, buy cosmetics? Okay, expand on that idea. The new mask that's available in 1.8, cool, alright, love it. But think about this. A full ninja outfit. Because in previous video I talked about melee and things that we need, and it was titled something to the effect of massive, please give these to us, or whatever. But you know, even if you do have cosmetic items like, you know, clothing sets and exotic melee weapons or what have you, that's limited income from microtransactions. So you pad your transaction, you pad your income for the game by selling ad space on the billboards. Instead of the Bleecker and Dwayne, you got 3 ads for them right there. Instead, why not have for Safelite Auto Glass and whatever, some car insurance company, or what, you know, whatever. It's just missed revenue, is all I'm saying. These are the kind of ideas that I have for the game to increase the income for the development of the game and to expand the existing game without having to build a Division 2. You can continue building upon this game's structure for years to come. Am I saying this game's going to be around for 8 years like some of these other ones that I mentioned? Maybe, maybe not. But with the right management of content, then it is possible. To mention that I had some experience in creative content control and design. This may or may not amount to anything, but World of Warcraft private servers, whenever they were a real thing years ago, there were several different ways of creating your own quote-unquote private server. And now what was happening is a number of these servers were actually charging premium content, and they ended up getting shut down, threatened with lawsuits, cease and desist, and all that. And I understand that, and that's fine. But what I did for one of the major ones that was out, it was one of the top 5 private servers, and at first, whenever I joined the staff, there was maybe a population of about 1,000 players at any one given time on a good day. Normal population between 250 to 300 during the week and so forth. What I did was I came in and took areas that were not being used, that were part of expansions, different areas, and some that were areas that were hidden in the map that were never used or never finished, and I finished them. I populated them with custom new NPCs, with new scripts, new missions, new player abilities, created a whole plethora of content to fill these areas so that it created an all-new experience. These were things you could do on this private server that you couldn't do on the retail servers, where you were paying $10 or $15 a month. You could come to a free server and have a better time. And not only that, there were methods of making donations to the server, and if you made a donation to the server, you got a custom armor set with your name on it, or hell, I even got as far as using buildings that were in remote locations that were inaccessible, but created teleportation tokens that were scripted only for the people who held that token. They could teleport to this location, and it was their own private house. And for another donation, I would let them pick the kind of furnishings they want, and would decorate their house with them. So yeah, I mean, and that's how they generated the money to pay me the salary that I was getting from them, until they were forced to get shut down. But I don't know if that counts towards anything. But I've also been part of mod community for various games over the years. I haven't been as active in it because of real life stuff that's gone on. I was part of the original mod development of mods for the original Rainbow Six series games. Rainbow Six, Eagle Watch. You know, these are games that are long forgotten, but I mean, one of the first mods for Urban Operations and Eagle Watch and so forth, and the one that was most popular for quite some time was a grenade launcher mod and so forth. But I created mods for that. I did a lot of modifications for games like 4x4 Evolution and Evolution 2, creating 3D models for vehicles, vehicle components, maps, tracks, articulation areas, all sorts of content for that, including a complete makeover to convert a 4-wheel drive off-road game into a racer import race game with drag racing, boat racing, things like that. Came up with the first invisible wheels for the game so that you could create a boat even though the water was only 2 foot deep. You had invisible tires, and it looked like you were driving a boat across the water, so we had boat drag racing and so forth. But yeah, nonetheless, even the fact of having aircraft that were driving across the ground. But I've been modding for quite some time. You know, I've also started rehashing some of my knowledge by relearning the development aspects of gaming by doing Unreal Engine 4 and creating AI scripting, things of that nature, trying to learn how more modern games are scripted and structured, so that I actually have a good working knowledge of the structure of a game, how the features of the game work, spawn locations, you know, timers, this and that and everything else, the ins and outs of the game itself. And I've been making some videos that were based on things I've been learning in Unreal Engine 4. So just to kind of recap of what was covered so far in the video here, was I talked about increasing the player base by adding a new major expansion, by adding the whole south side, and how you would actually get to it to continue your storyline, and the basic layout of how it would be, basic layout of missions that would be structured for that area. even if you don't increase your player level or your gear score levels or anything else by being in the south side, it wouldn't affect when you came back over to the north side to be able to do the normal PvP modes that are currently in existence. So you would still be able to travel back and forth between, but you would only be able to go to the south side if you paid for that expansion. To pay for the development of that, I mentioned that areas like Kobe's be converted into modern restaurants. I also mentioned bringing in a thirst and hunger system, similar to the way survival works. I would get rid of the cold. I wouldn't use the cold in that, and I would definitely get rid of the infection part of it. But let players come in and spend their currency at a restaurant to get food and drink. Have voice chat inside these restaurants so that you actually have some player-to-player social interaction. Also mentioned the idea of premium cosmetic gear sets. Mention advertising, billboards, sponsorships, and kind of mentioned and shortly talked about the idea of actually creating an advertising budget for the game to where you're advertising on the television and actually traveling to different locations. And one of the things that World of Tanks did and other games do is they do community gatherings. And what that is Wargaming actually came to, and I'm currently located in Charleston, South Carolina area, and they came to Charleston, South Carolina twofold. They wanted to come and meet the community, plus there's an aircraft carrier that's here that you can go on to, and it's a museum. So they wanted to check that out for World of Warships. But got to meet the development staff and hang out with them. It was a big thing. And was very proud to actually meet the development staff of the actual game that I played so much. So having that incorporated as part of the spreading the word, get the name out there. There's no real advertising. I haven't seen any advertisements for the Division whatsoever. The only way I even heard about it was on YouTube by other YouTubers who just happened to come up and play a game. They were sponsored by Ubisoft to actually play the game. They were essentially paid to play it. And did it work? Absolutely. Hell, I've got the game. I've got this primary account. I've got another account that I use that has 4 characters on it. Did it work? Yeah. I bought the game. I'm here. I've bought every single expansion pack for the game so far, and a bunch of almost all the cosmetic stuff. So I've actually spent money on there because of YouTube and another YouTuber who got me into this game. Damn you, Jingles. Yeah. So besides YouTube and YouTube gaming, need to have some other outside advertising, and not just Twitch either. I'm gonna wrap this video up because it's been going on long enough, and that's pretty much the summary of things. And all of this is to either gain part-time or full-time employment working via remote with development staff of this game to make this game grow exponentially into something that's going to be around for years to come, instead of just a fire and forget game like other companies seem to be putting out. How many Call of Duty games do we need? Really? How many Battlefield games do we need? Yeah, enough said. The Division, Tom Clancy's The Division, can be around 5-10 years with the right development structure and the right motivation and the right income. And I feel that my ideas can help make that happen. Again, I want to thank you for watching this video, especially if you made it all the way to the end. This means a lot to me, and I really hope this gets taken into consideration. If you are with the development of this game and can help make those decisions, please help me make that reality. If you know anybody that you can share this video with to get it to their attention, please do so. You'll be making an old man really happy. Alrighty, thank you and have a good evening.